Ciao.
Impolite. As the relish dish is passed, Bob takes a handful and puts them on his service plate, and back he goes to his soup in the same old way.
No idea how we're going to do this. I also don't know if we're going to do a break. I don't know if we're going to do a break or not for this. Because last week it was just the dinner party. And I just rolled through. And I'm not required to do a break at all this week. But people who've listened to this show, hi everybody, Shelly Brisbin's here. I'm just talking to Shelly, and you're listening, but you should know.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, Shelly.
Look, everybody's out there, Ken. I see him.
Yeah.
All of them.
It's back to the macOS Ken Live thing. I used to the whole time I said I should get that little thing that the woman looked through in Romper Room, you know, because I would say hi to everybody in the chat room, and like I don't know if you remember the thing on Romper Room, but she would basically look through. Oh, okay, yeah.
I see Timmy and Mary and yeah,
and I'd be like waving, like she never sees Ken. What's up with that? Turns out it's not nearly as common enough a name to do that with. I have no idea where I was going, except that we're going to the dinner party. So you were the first person to do a dinner party.
I was surprised to hear that until you told me, and I was like, oh,
yeah,
cool, because it was fun. I like the dinner party.
Yeah, well, it's ending. This is it.
Oh, it was a great time. I'm really tired. I want to go home.
It was fun. I might go back to it at some point if there's somebody who's on who has never done it before. But like Bart Bouchot was upset because the first time he was on, we were still doing album sides. And the next time he was on, because scheduling difficulties and what have you, he totally missed Wheel of Stuff.
Oh,
and so he got to be on for dinner party. Right. And he was all sad because he's like, I want to do Wheel of Stuff. And I was like, well, you can't.
He wanted to say whether he liked DC or Marvel. He could have had that question from me. Yeah. So this is what you do with Wheel of Stuff. If there's a question like that, because I always remember the DC versus Marvel question because I never had a good answer. Okay. I wanted to phone a friend.
Oh, nice.
So like, hey, and I know some nerds who would have opinions. Like, hi, I'm just going to connect you with my friend over here. He's going to give you the opinion. And then I'm like, can I have an extra question, please? Because, you know.
Absolutely. Introducing levels of complexity is really what I want for this show.
I know. I'm sure that's what you want.
And every show. Yeah. If I can find a way to make it, you know, more confusing and like maybe throw in some blocks to a good, quick production.
Hooray.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So I don't know how we're going to do this, but I won't say I'm jealous, but I come up with events, topics, ideas that I would like to do myself. Like probably the last week of this year, I'll talk about what I'm expecting from Apple in 2022 and what I'm hoping for from Apple in 2022. I don't remember if I ever actually, I never really did spin the wheel of stuff, but I would usually answer along with people. So you could argue that I played Wheel of Stuff more than anybody else. I haven't done a dinner party yet.
You should.
And since you started dinner party, and since we're going back now to we're having people back on again, I can't keep asking you to make up a dinner, thing. So I guess you're going to ask me about my dinner party, but I haven't even said, here's how you do that, because I don't know how you do it. I don't even know how I do it half the time. I
think I can figure that out. I'm a person who has a microphone and uses it for a living. So.
That's true. You are.
And I would love to hear, Ken, about your dinner party and who you're having. Because you must have thought of this because you've had so many people. You had the idea, first of all.
Yeah.
And then you've had so many people come on.
Yeah.
And you must have thought, oh, that's a great idea. Or really? Or some variation or something in between. So Ken, tell me who's the first person you'd have at your dinner party.
Well, so here's let me do a couple of things really quickly. First of all, I wish I had outtakes of everybody who, after we were recording, said, I guess I should have said Steve Jobs. Nobody said Steve Jobs. Nobody actually chose him. A lot of people acknowledged that, you're on an Apple show. They talk about Apple all the time. Maybe they should have Steve Jobs. Nobody said Steve Jobs, myself included. Because we're going to do a break, I decided while we were talking, we're going to go ahead and do a break. I'm not going to tell you who I would invite first, because I'm actually inviting one person by themselves and then a pair of people. So let's do the one person I would invite themselves first, and then we'll break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the last two. Okay,
sounds good.
Queen Elizabeth, and I have to give a hat tip to Tom Merritt, because he actually said after we recorded. He's like, yeah, I thought about Queen Elizabeth. And then we thought, ooh, do you want Queen Elizabeth or do you want like her like spy master, Walsingham, you know? And it was really weird because I said Walsingham's name and Tom didn't even flinch. He didn't go, who? And I was like, oh, wow. He's like, I feel certain, as with most things, Tom Merritt knows more about Queen Elizabeth than I do.
I suspect you're correct.
Yeah.
Not because I have any knowledge of how much you know about Queen Elizabeth, but I know Tom, so...
Yeah, right. It's like that guy. I should say I want to have Tom Merritt.
You should invite Tom over.
Yeah, that's true. But the thing is,
bring some friends.
I can have Tom. I mean, like, yeah, we don't live that far from each other. We've actually talked about getting together. You know, once all the pandemic craziness stops, which I guess we're saying in California that we might be close to that again. So who knows? Maybe we'll have. Yeah. Anyway, Queen Elizabeth. I'm fascinated by the fact that she ruled as a woman by herself in a time where, even though she was queen, back when, you know, being royalty meant God had said, right? As far as people were concerned, people were like, yeah, God has deemed her. She's going to be the right person to lead, England, which means leading a good portion of the world. But she's going to need a husband. Right. And she never did. She never took a husband. She ruled as she ruled the whole time. Pushed the Spanish back, pushed back a lot of suitors. And from what reading I have done, gave at least good lip service to Catholic or Protestant, I don't care, which to me is a fascinating thing because, you know, you literally had wars. You literally had massacres of people who, you know, pledged allegiance to the Pope, or massacres of people who didn't, depending on where you were and when that happened. And yeah, you know, did all that. Plus, I would really be curious what she thought was going to happen when she died, because she had no successor and she had no clear line of succession, as I understand it. Her council basically had to get together and like, right, probably that person would be the best one. Let's do that. Just so much fascinating stuff about her. So I'd love to have her to dinner. Plus, I'll bet she's never had a cheeseburger.
That's probably true. Yeah. No, and I even, you know, how she came to the throne and her lineage and all of that sort of stuff would be interesting. And did she ever say, "Oh, fine, I'll marry some guy and we'll sort this out and have," or at some point she had to know this was going to be complicated when she died, and she would have either said, nothing I can do about it, or, tough, it's your problem.
Or what do I care? I'll be dead. More of our conversation with Shelly in just a moment, but first I want to tell you about another show that I do. It is called The Checklist. It is brought to you by Secure Mac. Every week we talk about computer security issues. Sometimes it's big news of the day, sometimes it's how-tos or how-to-nots. Really, every story that we bring, we try to bring with a call to action. There is a bad thing happening. Here is what you can do to avoid it. There is a bad thing you've done. Here is what you can do to fix it. Not a bad thing you've done, but you get the idea. Show's been going for about 5 years now, and if you have not listened to it yet, I really wish you would. And I wish you would tell friends about the show as well. What we're trying to do is help. Give it a listen. See what you think. The show is called The Checklist. It is brought to you by Secure Mac. You can find it wherever you find podcasts, or go straight to the source, by which I mean the show's site, securemac.com/checklist. Do you want to bring us back from break? Okay. Well, hold on. Hey, everybody. Shelly's going to bring us back from break now.
So, Ken, before the break, you were saying that your next dinner party guests were a pair of people to join you and Queen Elizabeth. Yep. And it's funny because when you first said Queen Elizabeth, I thought you meant the current reigning one.
No.
And quickly I became aware that you did not.
No.
So just for anybody who might have made that mistake, it's too late to correct it in your brain then. But now tell us who your pair of guests is to go along with the Queen.
Mary Magdalene and Jesus Christ.
Oh my goodness!
I know, right? I'm shooting big.
Aiming high.
Kinda, yeah. It's sort of.
Do you like that they're coming as a couple?
Nobody said they were coming as a couple.
Okay.
Nobody said they were coming as a couple. Yes, I'm inviting both of them. How they arrive is entirely up to them.
If they want to take an Uber together, they can, but they don't have to.
Yeah. I'm not saying anything inappropriate about anybody. I'm not trying to offend anybody about their relationship.
Blame me. If anybody takes offense, just blame me because I started it.
Here's the thing. I don't know enough about Mary Magdalene. Honestly, I know that she is presented as one who practices the world's oldest profession, and I think about that actually, and it's like that was 2,000 years ago. And I don't even know if that part is true, but we've had that idea around for so long. It's just kind of amazing to me, and yet this is somebody whose name is synonymous with the disciples and with Jesus. There's got to be a lot of really fascinating, interesting stuff there. And also, the reason I want to have Jesus to dinner is because I'm looking to find out a bit of truth about the guy. Not like, okay, so tell me honestly, or anything like that. So your mom and your dad, and you answer that however you want to, but tell me about your mom and dad. It's more, I find it hard to believe the level of vitriol with which people will say, I'm a Christian. Seems incompatible. If you can angrily yell at somebody to be quiet because you're a Christian, I'm not saying you're not. I'm saying, are you sure you're grokking the fullness in a way? The idea that somebody who preached peace and love, that those ideas can, to some people who read writings and works and teachings and whatever, the idea that somebody can have preached peace and love 2,000 years ago and have those ideas still be around makes me think that this was either an incredibly dynamic speaker or just, incredibly in touch with those things. Now, I thought about the Buddha. I thought about dinner with Buddha, for pretty much the same reason, but I don't know enough about Buddha. Plus, Buddha hasn't really affected my life in the same way. Rarely am I being yelled at by somebody who's like, I'm a Buddhist and you can't say that, right? In my life, I can point to certain times, both good and bad, where teachings of and belief in Jesus would have affected my life and have affected my life. Plus, bet he's never had a cheeseburger either.
Probably not.
Yeah.
And is that what you're going to serve at your dinner party? Cheeseburgers?
I don't know. That was.
You could have them as like little appetizers. You could have little sliders, and then later on you could have something else to
see.
Here's a cheeseburger.
When I had Tom on, I said, "So it's a 7-course meal," and he's like, "And you want me to pick the courses?" Like, no, I don't. But that's good. Yeah,
People.
I think everybody can have what they want, and probably Jesus. I'm okay. Yes, this is actually being a little bit disrespectful. He can probably make it whatever he wants anyway. Because he's that kind of.
And he can bless it all and
that kind of guy. Yeah.
But.
Yeah, I would just like to have a conversation. I will say, runner up in the dinner was Shakespeare. So it's going to be Jesus, Queen Elizabeth, and Shakespeare. But then I thought, then just Queen Elizabeth and Shakespeare are just going to be making jokes about their contemporaries.
Right.
And Jesus and I are going to be like,
that guy, am I right?
Jesus is going to be like, should you really be making fun? And I'm going to be like, I don't even know who these people are. Right. I'm not so worried about Jesus and Mary Magdalene, just talking shop, because the shop they talk, ends up being the shop that got open in a large part of the world. So even if all they do is talk shop, I'll be like, no, it's really interesting though, because that's...
And it'll be interesting to Queen Elizabeth as well, given what's going on in her time.
I would imagine so. One of the quotes that I have heard ascribed to her was, there's only one Jesus Christ. Everything else is a disputation over titles. I think she'd probably be fine with the guest. It wouldn't be
probably
like, it wouldn't be like... So Jesus and Mary and Steve Jobs walk into a restaurant. I can't see it.